One of the biggest obstacles to people buying an electric car is the infrastructure. There aren't enough places to charge, they say, or electric cars are only good for city driving, they'll say, or terrible range unless you have a Tesla. So when I tell these imaginary people I'm going on a road trip to Italy, they say, "What? You can't do that." So that's what we did. We decided to go to Italy in our electric car, in our Kia e-Niro, and you probably want to know how it went. So how did it go? It was surprisingly good. But just to make things complicated for us, we had some rules. We were heading down from England to Italy, and in Italy we were going to stay at an apartment near Rome, in a place called Ceranova. So we were going to stay there for 10 days. And then on the way back, we were going to go to a hotel in the mountains in Alto Adige. So they were our things that we couldn't really change. The whole trip around that, we were just going to plan it one day at a time. That means booking hotels 1 or 2 days before we would stay there. We did this because we didn't know how the car was going to be or how the trip was going to be. If we felt that the efficiency was not really good enough, then maybe we would decide to cut it down into more little legs. We also didn't want to do any more than one public charge a day. We broke this rule a couple of times, but anyway, that was the plan. We also didn't want to be driving too much, so we were kind of thinking, well, yeah, like 4 hours of driving a day will be enough, because we have our daughter in the car and our dog, and it's just, it's not much fun being stuck in a car for ages. We did a long road trip across America, and when that was just the two of us, my wife and I, we were, it was fine. We would drive 8 hours a day, and who cares? But a bit different when you have a child. And we wanted to follow the speed limit, so that involved doing 130 kilometers, which is about 82 miles per hour. In much of Europe, that's what we were going to do. That was it. They were our rules. Here's how we made the journey. And I'll go into geeky detail about the charging because, as I said at the beginning, it's the infrastructure is the thing that people are most concerned about. So that's what this video is about. It's the infrastructure all over Europe. Well, I say all over Europe. Europe's a big continent, but from England to France to Italy to Germany, Belgium, France again. Did I miss that one? So this is how we did it. Also, I'm going to concentrate on the charges also because you don't want to see my home movies necessarily. In fact, my family don't want to see my home movies because actually I just film the e-Niro dashboard most of the time these days. Anyway, off we went. So we left Canterbury on the 19th of July. We left with 100% battery because who leaves with anything less than 100 if you're going on a road trip? Just idiots, that's who. So we got to the tunnel with 93% battery. We're in the tunnel. One of the benefits of being in an electric car is that you keep your air conditioning going without having the engine turned on. That was great to keep us nice and fresh, ready for getting to France. And then we got to France. Charger number 1 was Air de Rally. I'm sorry for anyone French watching this. We've been in the car for a while and we were hungry, so we stopped at this first charger. This is a corridor charger. That's the network. I don't know why they have to make all these charging networks so damn confusing. It's a corridor It's the corridor network. I think it's operated by a company called Evisia. All you have to do, wave your new motion RFID card, choose your language if you want to choose English. Then do. I did because, as you've clearly seen by now, my French is terrible. And we were charging. But we were 75% battery, and that's madness. When you're driving an electric car, You really want to charge. You want to get to a charger like much less than that. I mean, because it's so fast. I say it's so fast. It's fast-ish, charging up to 80%, and then it tails off, and then it gets much slower. So for us to get there at 75%, it's just madness. But anyway, we were hungry. We weren't going to be doing anything else for an hour anyway. So apart from eating, so it's like parking your car, but having it full of petrol when you get back in. So we had some food. We were absolutely covered in thrips. These little tiny black little bug things, also called thunderbugs. That's what my mum always calls them, thunderbugs, which would be a great name for a cartoon, wouldn't it? Thunderbugs. So we charged up to 100%, which took 1 hour 14 minutes. As you can see, it's very slow to charge. After you get past that 80% point, it takes ages. This charge cost £18.38. Ouch. Well, most of these charges really are very expensive. Off we went to the first hotel in San Quentin. And we reached there with 64% battery, which kind of proves that we didn't have to charge at all, did we? It was a 132-mile trip to the hotel, but we thought there weren't any chargers close to the hotel, so that's why we needed a fairly decent buffer to get us to the next charger. As it turns out, there were chargers close to the hotel. They just weren't on PlugShare. PlugShare is a website and an app that's absolutely brilliant. It shows all the charging points, well, most of the charging points. People add them themselves, and you can add them as well if you find them. And that's the key with PlugShare, is that it's only as good as the data that it has, and the data is gotten mainly by people adding chargers themselves. So it's worth bearing in mind. It's kind of good to check PlugShare, but also check NewMotion as well. So the first charging stop after the hotel was Route Nationale in Champfleury. It's worth mentioning that at this point we'd experienced so many tolls, because it does take a toll on you. Endless tolls. So we arrived at the charger with 28%, which was fine for us. I'd said before that 20% was what we were aiming for. We're charging on another of the corridor stations. I'm currently getting 43 kilowatts, and it's going to be 44 minutes here until we get to 80%. Driving 80 miles an hour on the motorway obviously drains the battery quite a lot, and especially with the roof box. So we're only getting 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour on the efficiency. So we're obviously charging much more frequently than we would do normally without the roof box. The next hotel here is 218 miles away. So the problem is that because the range is only about 180 miles with the roof box, we're going to have to factor in doing another charge closer to the hotel. So that's a bit annoying. I should have found a charger last night near the hotel. So I was wondering how to change the units on the car to from miles to kilometers. Okay, so setup, navigation, unit, easy as that. Easy as that. Charged up to 100%. We ate at a surprisingly nice Japanese restaurant, and we were a bit freaked out by the range at this point. We were thinking, oh God, this trip is going to be a nightmare. It just shocked us a little bit. We had booked a hotel that was 218 miles away from here, but then we just thought, no, we're not going to manage it. So we cancelled that hotel, and we booked another one. And this one, crucially, had a Tesla destination charger, which meant that we could get there and charge the car for free up to 100%. So what could possibly go wrong? Even though this hotel was closer, it was 185 miles, we kind of felt we would still have to charge again. So after 118 miles, we reached charger number 3, which was at Aire du Château-Vallon Est. My wife was losing her patience at this point. Why didn't we just get a Tesla, she said. And it was because I'd mentioned that the Teslas charge very fast and the supercharger network is very good, and it's all over the place. So there's just a degree of comfort that you get, I think, with a Tesla. This will improve with a number of different things, Ionity being one of them, because Ionity is like the supercharger network but for any other car. And the car sat navs just have to be connected and clever like the Tesla ones. But yes, certainly charging speed in this instance, because we were sat there just watching the clock, really. I mean, the charging speed was a bit of an issue. Anyway, so we were there for 37 minutes. I went to get a coffee with my daughter, and the coffee machine wasn't working, so that put me in a pretty foul mood. So we went to the next hotel, Holiday Inn, Dijon, Tuscan. And this one had a Tesla destination charger. Fantastic, except it wasn't fantastic because they had 3 spaces, 2 of which were for Teslas and 1 was for other cars. All 3 were taken. We're now at a Holiday Inn in Dijon, and we have 16% battery left and 49 kilometers. I've changed it to kilometers. 49 kilometers left on the GOM. And there are chargers here, but one of them is taken up with an i3 and the other 2 in are Model 3s, which is very exciting. So it's the first time I've seen one out and about. And they're beautiful. I kept checking. The BMW i3 didn't budge, so I had to go find a charger somewhere. And actually the closest one, despite being on like the north of Dijon, the closest one was actually back on the motorway. Yeah, this shows that we had booked this hotel purely because it had a charger, the destination charger. So obviously if a plan like that fails, well, what do you do? Well, now I'm going to have to drive to a motorway services to try and get, in fact I've got to go back up to try and charge there, to get enough charge to then get us down to the next one that we'll have to get to. So annoyingly, it's like going back on ourselves. Anyway, it is what it is. Given my issue with the motorway, missing the motorway services in England, I was a little bit nervous I was going to do the same thing, because I really didn't have very much range. Also hoping that the actual charger wasn't occupied or anything, but I checked, and there was no one charging there. Looking at the new Motion app, so off I went to Air de Dijon Brognon West. So I made it to the charger with 11% battery I've got now and 33 kilometers on the GOM. So, God, I hope this charger works. Let's see. Can't see anything much on the screen. Sorry. Is it choking? What? Oh dear, what's this? The charger's not working. Okay, well, I don't know why the New Motion card is not working, and I can't get hold of New Motion for some reason. Their phone is not working. So I called the charge point, and they were very helpful, speaking English, or trying to speak English as well. She was very good. And she said, you can buy these, which are prepaid charge cards. And they are €20 for, it sounded like she said 2 13-minute sessions, but surely it'll be 30. Because I'm not going to get very far with 13 minutes. It must be 30. So hopefully I just have to wave it in front of the machine, Le Passe, and we'll see if this works. It's the same message. She was lovely, the girl on the phone was lovely. She's restarted the charger and now it's working using Le Passe, which I activated on their app. I'm not sure whether I had to actually, but anyway, that's what I did. So that's now working, and yeah, just gotta wait like an hour or something. Well, no, an hour till 80%. Let's have a look. Yes, about an hour to 80%. 1 hour 53 to 100%. Anyway, I'm thankful I'm getting charged now. Well, I've been sat here long enough. Right, 82% charge, then 289 kilometres, and I'll go back to the hotel, which is, I don't know, 22 kilometres, I think. And I'm hoping that there'll be a free charging space there, so I can at least top it up a little bit while I have some breakfast. All right, and let's go. After all that, get back to the hotel. The BMW has budged now. I plug in, add 5% of range while we're packing the car up, and off we go to the next charger. The next charger is Air di Tapanas. And it was pretty windy, so the efficiency was still pretty bad, but the GOM is based on your previous journeys, so it knows what your average has been. And at this point, it was pretty good at working it out. Now, this was another corridor charger, activated with new motion. Tantalizingly, there were some Ionity chargers just next to it that were still under wraps. I'm turned into an Ionity fanboy, but it's going to be so much easier when all these Ionity chargers are online for everyone. So we charged the car to 100% while we ate. We actually then just booked the next hotel, which we were going to just later that day. So that was properly living life on the edge. Next hotel was in Chambéry. We were still a little bit nervous about range, so I was in the back checking plug share, new motion, and a better route planner while my wife was driving, and I'd have to keep asking her, "Can you press the EV button?" Because you can't tell the percentage of the battery on the Niro without pressing the EV button. It's madness. I don't know why it can't just show it on the display on the dash, but it doesn't. You get a rough readout, but you don't. I want it accurate. So anyway. So that was the game we were playing, and I was checking the whole time if it was going to be okay. I'd be entering the exact efficiency into a better route planner, and that would work out how we were going to do. And actually, it always ended up better than I was expecting. So Hotel 5, Chambéry was the next hotel. Lovely place, actually, Chambéry, and a lovely hotel. 51% battery and 164 kilometres of range left. It was actually much better than I was expecting. And when I went on to a better route planner, that seemed to think that I might have to charge somewhere before getting here, but luckily not. And I'm not sure why, but it was far less windy today, and I think that has a real effect on the roof box. So I'm going to find somewhere to plug in and charge, because we can't charge at the hotel. There were a good few choices actually in Chambéry. It was pretty good for chargers, I think. This one was Rue de la République. Okay, well, I've just been driving around for ages trying to find the charge points, and actually a car just moved, so I was able to get into one. So now I'm charging with new motion. By the time I get to the car tomorrow, it should all be done. Ciao, baby. Well, this on the street charger worked really well. So next stop is going to be an Ionity charger, which would be exciting if it works. And I've got a very hot dog in the back, so I'm going to put on the air conditioning and go to the hotel and load up. And it was only going to be 63 miles to the next charger. So I probably didn't need to charge it anywhere near that much. But anyway, so off we went. And this one was an Ionity charger, and turns out it was a damn nice one too. We're now charging at Ionity, Air di Freni, and it's the most beautiful charge point in the world. We'll wait here until it gets to 100, and then we'll go off to Genoa. My wife and daughter liked the hotel in Chambéry so much, they decided they wanted a pool at the next hotel as well. So I found one with a pool and a destination charger that accepts dogs. It was a long drive, it was about 3 hours. And efficiency now seemed much better, actually. After crossing the Alps, there was a bit of a descent. It was in the centre of Genova, and I didn't tell my wife it was in the centre of Genova, and she wasn't happy with me after this because I didn't realise Genova was so big. When I was looking on the map, I kind of just thought, that's fine, it's Surely it won't be too bad to get there. But of course, Italian drivers, and I don't think I'm saying anything particularly controversial here, Italian drivers are bloody awful. The moment we got from France into Italy, it was like driving onto the set of Mad Max. Luckily, my wife was doing the driving at this point. She knew, I think, that I didn't particularly fancy driving into an Italian city. I just don't have the nerve for it. I'm far too English. We wouldn't have gotten anywhere. I would have been letting people out and saying, no, it's fine, no, you go ahead. And also she knows more of the, well, she's Italian, so of course she knows more Italian swear words than I do, and she can cope with the general stress of driving in Italy. To be fair, English drivers are absolutely awful as well once the sun comes out, so it's all connected to the sun. So we got to the hotel with 34% battery, and this was the poshest hotel by far that we've of the ones that we stayed in on this trip, and they actually charged €8, I think, for the use of the charger, which seems a bit cheeky to me. But anyway, one of the valet guys showed me to the parking area because it was off the hotel kind of bit. You had to drive up the road a little bit, and it only just fitted in with the roof box. It was so tight. And I didn't realise until I came out and the valet guy said, have you seen how tight that was? And it was tight. So they had 3 chargers, 2 Tesla and 1 normal. Plugged it in and it was fine. It's 10:30. I just came back to check that it was charging. It wasn't. It was on 0.5 kilowatts. And even then it kind of wasn't. They had red lights on all 3 of the units. So I'm just sat here at the moment just seeing what happens. But at the moment it's charging on 7.2 kilowatts. I'm hoping that obviously when we wake up tomorrow morning it'll be on 100. Because you have to pay for this one. It's a very posh hotel. And I feel a little bit out of place actually. Especially as my daughter got my daughter had a nosebleed earlier. So I've got blood. I've got her nosebleed blood on my shirt, which I've been wearing for like 3 days now actually, because I put all our clothes in the roof box, and I didn't think that it was going to take us so long to get down to Italy, but anyway, so I've got her blood on it. I've got tomato sauce as well on it now because we just had some pasta. Anyway, it's certainly convenient having a destination charger, especially one that's available, and it's still working, so I guess I can turn off. I guess I can leave the car alone and hopefully it's all right. After extensive research, we booked a hotel in Tuscany. Hotel Casolare delle Terre Rosse. That's what it's called, near San Gimignano.
So excited I can't even barely move.
Can you see a charging point anywhere? Eccolo là.
Yeah, I can see it. Got there with 22% battery left. So that was pretty perfect. We plugged into the charger, which I think was powered by their solar panels, actually. So that was great. It wasn't the fastest charger ever, but it didn't need to be because we were staying there for a day. Well, in fact, we changed it to 2 days because we loved it so much. By far the best place we stayed at. We absolutely loved it there. The food was amazing. The owners were wonderful. It was just such a beautiful place. Loved it. The next stop was an apartment in Cerranova, which is near Rome, and we'd be staying there for 10 days, seeing family, going to the beach, swimming pool, that kind of thing. We didn't need to charge halfway, in fact, to get there, which is why destination charging is so damn convenient. So 158 miles it was to get to there from Tuscany, and I think it was relatively easy. We've just arrived. Now we've got to unpack and try and relax a bit. We've been in Italy for a few days now, and it's all lovely as always, but we should have stopped at a charger before we got to the apartment, because we thought that we might be able to just do dangle an extension lead and plug in with a granny charger, but the more I think about it, it's going to be like a 15-meter extension cable, and I don't trust the electrics enough around here for it to work. It would be a bit dodgy. So I'm going to make a 40-minute drive to Civitavecchia, where there's a fast charger, a 50 kilowatt charger. and I'll charge there for a bit. I mean, it's not ideal, and we should have gone there on the way here really, but anyway, it's a nice day as always in Italy, and so hopefully it'll be an okay drive. And yeah, so I've got 24% battery at the moment and 88 kilometers on the GOM. I should get there easily. I don't even remember how far away it is now. It's like 30 kilometers. I'll show it on the screen because I'll be completely wrong. But anyway, I should be fine, and let's just hope that the charger is working. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I've just arrived at the fast charger, or rapid charger I should say, in Civitavecchia. So I've got 17% battery left, which equates to about 67 kilometers on the GOM. Yeah, let's hope it's working. Well, that's actually a pretty good experience using their app. I'm quite surprised. I'm surprised because, this may be unfair to say it, but I'm surprised because most things in Italy don't tend to work very well. I'm married to an Italian, so I'm allowed to say that. But that's actually really good, because this is the first time I've charged in Italy. I'm sure that's right. First time I've charged in a public charger in Italy. So the NL Juice Pass app, you just have to make sure you've added a profile on there with a card on it. And it's all quite simple really, and then yeah, go to the charger, select it, and press recharge. It knows that you're next to the charger because the location services are on, obviously, and that's all you have to do really, and then it just tells you to plug in the cable. So yeah, that's great. I'm quite impressed. Anyway, I'll sit here and do some work, and or I'll just sit in the Italian sun and enjoy that. We've been talking to my wife's family a lot in Italy, and they're kind of they're fascinated by electric cars, but I don't think any of them would have them yet because the infrastructure is still not there. And they've all got apartments, so that's, you know, as we are staying in one at the moment, you know, and there are no chargers at all close. I mean, I've driven all this way just to get to a fast charger or rapid charger, whatever, but there's not even any slow chargers in our sort of vicinity. But I know that'll change, but it'll probably take a little bit longer in Italy than it will everywhere else, just because Italy tends to be a little bit behind on some of these things. But certainly getting down here, I mean, it's been relatively painless, the drive down to Italy. Actually, on the coastal route that we went down, it's a little bit worse than it would be if we were going up the centre. So if you're going from Rome all the way up to the north, like Bolzano and Bologna and everything, then actually the charging stops are quite good up there. But actually, we probably went like the worst way we could, because on the far east of France, which was the one that we went down, at the moment, at the time of recording this, there are very few chargers, and Ionity are building a whole load of them along the stretch of road where it's really needed. But until that happens, it's the east of France is a little bit of a mess. When we travel back, we're going to go back through the north of Italy into Germany, and then across Belgium, and then back to Calais. And that way, by the looks of it, it's so much better with Ionity chargers sort of everywhere, and the New Motion card works all over the place. New Motion, they don't have very many chargers in Italy, so you have to use this NL app, or get their RFID card, I suppose. But based on this experience here, it's actually really good. Okay, I'm back to the apartment, and 94% battery. I've got 331 kilometers on the GOM, with an average of 16.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and whatever that means in miles. And good. So 94% battery should do us for a few trips to the beach and back. And then hopefully we'll have like 80% ready for when we go off and leave next week. All right, time for some food. Some pasta, I think. And that was the end of the first part of the trip. That was England to Italy.